Well, let's get started.
All right.
Hello, folks, and thank you again for joining the Nahoku Music Festival. We have three very special guests with us today in the house. And really, we put this super groove session just to see you guys jam. I mean, in all honesty. Please give it up, Mr. Ray Parker Jr. on guitar. Ready, Freddie Washington on the bass. Mr. Lan Richards on drums.
Hey.
Folks, we'll give it to you.
Thank you. So now we have our workshop here, right?
Yes.
Which means what? What do we do at a workshop? I really don't know, but I can play the guitar.
Oh, it's up to them.
Yeah.
You know,
It's up
questions,
to you guys.
Q&As, and
Yeah, let's do some Q&A because I know some people they play and they don't really know what it's about. I mean, you can hear us jam anytime, but I mean, is there anything we can answer you guys about this? By the way, I know. Let me just start. I talk too much, so cut me off anytime. I know a lot of you people are saying, "Oh, Ray Parker Jr." He goes, "Strange in the neighborhood." Who can? I mean, we know that too. But what you probably don't know is what I really do for a living is play the guitar. I've been playing it since I was 11 years old. Played on many, many records, and this is what I really do. What I'm really known for is playing the guitar. Besides the other people on TV want to go, who you gonna call? So that's like two different lives.
right.
But this one, before you leave here today, you will be convinced that I can play the goddamn guitar. Make sure that works for you.
Yeah, because we come here today to play as a rhythm section, as a 3-piece rhythm section, 3 pieces or 4 pieces or however many is in the rhythm section, and to show you the functionalities of each instrument, and then when you put them all together,
Right.
how it works. It's more simple than it is complex.
Right.
And that's what makes all the other stuff sound really wow.
Is everybody a musician here?
Yeah.
What do y'all play?
I like
Okay.
I write music and lyrics.
Any guitar players?
I'm a DJ and I play for all music.
Oh, okay, okay.
Any drummers? Bass players? All right.
So you got guitar, drums, and bass. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we got to hold it.
And everybody in here is really missing out today. Too bad.
Yeah. It's about the feedback a little bit here. Yeah.
But is there anything in particular that anybody would like to know? Go ahead.
You guys went through like the stage where you kind of jazz through your life, and then smooth jazz, right? The radio thing went to smooth jazz, still smooth jazz thing, right? But it seems like to get to that smooth jazz, people actually will come out to like a concert on here tonight. Is a pitch for people who support smooth jazz musicians to come out and actually support individual musicians on the stage performing. And so you just set up for being studio guys, backup guys, letting music be behind movies, or you still try to do it over the layers? You understand what I'm saying?
Not quite, because you mentioned smooth jazz, you mentioned jazz, you mentioned other stuff. I do everything all the time, every day. So, like for instance, I'm not going to say people will come to concert. Like I did a concert last year. We had 480,000 people at the concert. At the World Cup Open I played, you know. So I was playing with the Black Eyed Peas and did some of my stuff with Hugh Masekela. So I'm everywhere. Like tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I'll be in Paris, and we got a big crowd, the biggest TV show in Paris, doing some different stuff. But like I said before, the thing that I'm going to educate you to now is I'm not just a guy who does that. I do a little bit of everything. So at the same time, I'll be doing, I don't know, a Herbie Hancock record, which is one kind of jazz, or maybe a Brian Culbertson record I just finished, which is smooth jazz. You know, I just did the new Cher record too, or I'll do the new whatever record. You know, so I'm doing a little bit of everything. So I don't really miss or feel the crowd. Like Freddie's going to go on back tour with Steely Dan. There's going to be thousands of people.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
One of the many things we do.
And that's another thing we should talk about. I don't see why anybody would just tag themselves into one specific genre of music. If you really love music, you probably like more than one thing. You know, if you only listen to one particular thing, no matter what it is, bluegrass, whatever, if you just want to listen to bluegrass, you're going to be very limited. And this world, I promise you, will change from time to time. Everything changes, right? Like one guy says, I want to be a rapper. Well, that's pretty limited. You know, when rap dies, which is probably about the time you get your record out and get it up good, you know, then there'll be something else. So if you want to be in music, my first recommendation to you for everybody, you should learn all facets of music so you can fit in everywhere.
Really important.
Yeah.
That's real important. Yes, Becky.
What we listen to in general in life or what we listen to while we're on the stage?
It's almost like this. When we go into a studio, say if we go into a studio situation and there's a song that we've never heard before in our life, and they give us a general idea of how it's supposed to go, then they're dependent on us to really create that moment. So whatever that groove is, I'm listening to Ray. I have to listen to Land's kick drum, and they have to listen to the bass, and everything has to kind of like fit. It's like, so, and how do you make something fit? You can't clutter it up. You have to be real simple with what you're trying to do, so their parts can all gel together. So we're really listening. We're not listening to ourselves. We're listening to
the whole product,
the whole thing.
And the number one thing is, and also which I try to tell my kids, don't just practice your parts at home. It's got to have some timing to it, right? Nothing matters unless it's in time. I don't care how great you're going to play. It doesn't matter. It has to be locked right in time. It has to be glued to the guy next to you who's glued to the guy next to him. Just like that little groove we opened up with. Mm-hmm. Once we got our sound, the three of us playing so tight that that's what makes it come alive. It's really, in my opinion, more important to play the rhythm tight than it is to play the right notes.
Okay, check this out. Now check this out. I'm just gonna. And then Land add something. That's simple. Just light. I'm not playing hard.
See, it's got to feel good. Be real tight together. Then rail that over. If I miss a note, doesn't matter, it's funky. But now if I lose the rhythm and I go, now you got a problem, right? Now you just heard he ain't with it. But if I miss a note or two and it's in the groove, you don't even know whether I meant to do it or not. If I hit it strong, right? Because every now and then, it doesn't happen to me, but 0.00001% of the time. But every now and then I might miss a note,
Right.
And when that occurs, if it's grooving, see, that sounds okay. But if I go, and then they're gone, you will really, really notice that, and it'll be out of sync.
If we're in the groove and he's not in the groove, then we're going to be over here grooving, and it's like, well, what is he doing over there?
Yeah, and I'm going to get fired too. Which also has never happened.
So that little thing we just did just came up with, look a la James Brown groove. It's so simple, but when I started playing, I'm playing from a body clock, and they're paying attention to what I'm feeling like, not what I'm playing, what I'm feeling like, in order for them to feel what they will potentially want to do, or how they're going to come in. So it's all about really listening and feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to exaggerate even more than what he's saying, 95% of the musicians make no money, broke, and can't figure out what's wrong. Okay? And the truth is, what he's saying, that extra little 5%, that's what takes you to the big time. And people know it when you play. They can feel you, right? If you're a little bit off a little bit, and I don't care, most people, and I know it's two of my kids. My kids all got guitars and stuff. And I look at the teacher, and the teacher, in my opinion, is teaching them a little bit wrong, because he needs a metronome there. He needs to lock them into the groove. They're busy playing, Guns and Roses and all this stuff, and it's not in time. And so they're starting to learn how to play out of time, which I'm correcting this week. But they're starting to learn how to play. They play well, but if you put the drums with them and everything, they're falling behind, they're falling forward. And it's just worthless. I told them it's worthless, guys, unless you're going to play it in time and play it in the groove. trust me, the band, the musicians, the singer, everybody will feel you playing in the groove, and all of a sudden your workload will start to excel for no reason. You'll be like, wow, what happened? I look better this week, you know. And it's really true. And it's not as easy to do as it sounds. If it was, everybody'd be doing
Everybody.
it. And I guarantee you, it's really hard to find players who can lock into the groove. I can find players who can play by themselves and play some really hip stuff. But you put them with 4 other guys and they're a mess.
Yeah.
They're just a mess. And
Len,
that's the difference.
Y'all.
Say something, man. Let's hear your voice
Yeah,
back.
man.
No, I'm
Talk
always
quiet
in the back, and it's
Give a
cool
drum
because
or
I can hide. But the thing is, my approach is to make sure that everything dances. And I always tell, when I'm doing clinics, drummers, I say, hey, how many of you dance? And very few of them raise their hands. And I say, how you going to play to make somebody dance if you can't? If you don't understand what makes you move, how are you going to make them move? Because just playing a pattern is one thing, but expression is what makes it art. So playing that groove, doom, doom, cat, or doom, doom, cat. Then the attitude comes in, the expressions. So then people start to make it feel like that, you know? So when you move it like that, I don't care what you play, it dances. That's the main thing from my chair. So, like when Freddie started the groove, everybody's like, okay, yeah. So drums started playing, then everybody said, oh, yeah, wait a minute now. Then Ray jumped in, they said, that's a little bit more. Yeah, now it's glued together. So the main thing from a drum standpoint is making sure that it dances. It very simple, such as even a ballad.
Yeah, babe. If you're not sure that you let me.
You know, so it's the picture that you get, and that emotional, you have to feel it. Like Freddie said, when he set it up, it's the body clock that he has. So, and I said, okay, I know where he's feeling it. So let me just play with him. And then that's when the beat comes in that makes you say, okay, I know where the 2 and 4 is. Because we're talking about commercial music, but even classical music, because I do a lot of symphony stuff. It was dance music, if you think about it, back in the day.
That's right.
So even smooth jazz, derivative of vocal tunes that were pop tunes, bebop tunes, when Charlie Parker, all they did was change the melody, but played the tunes, you know? So that's kind of where, from me, I just make it, I try to make it dance. Everything got to dance. If it ain't dancing, out the door.
Not to do it.
And the more simplistic you can be, not busy, you can't be busy. You have to really think in like just a simple layman's term. That simple, because if you're not simple and don't have a foundation, then everything else on top of you is just going to be waffling and it's going to fall down. But if you are a strong foundation, everything that goes on top of you is going to be really solid. So it's going to start with a simple base pattern that feels good, that a person can stand on. So where we're coming from, we have technique. We can do the technical stuff, but it's the simplicity stuff. So when you do something kind of a little extra special, it stands out. Yeah, that makes it really, really special.
Any questions?
Any more questions?
Don't be shy, y'all. You're going to wait till we get home. You tell me, man, I should have asked
You
him.
guys came here. Y'all know you guys want some information.
asked him about
There we
that.
go.
When you were growing up, what kind of music did you guys listen to?
Well, I'll start with that. First of all, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, so I obviously grew up with Motown and all that kind of stuff. So I grew up. The only reason why I switched from the saxophone to the guitar is I heard the Lovin' Spoonfuls play "What a Day for a Daydream." I said, I got to play the guitar, man. I want to get, So I bought me an electric guitar. That was it for me. I started playing that, and I started playing some Temptations music, and I worked really, really hard. And I started going on tour at about 13 years old. First group I went on tour with was called the Spinners. For all you old folks remember that stuff. But I started touring with the Spinners, So ever since then, it's just been. But that's what I used to listen to: Keener FM in Detroit. Top 40 radio.
Yeah, I'm from Oakland, California, so I'm from it's almost like a Detroit within itself, and you got the rich history of Sly and the Family Stone,
mixed in with some Sly, right?
with some Sly, Larry Graham. You got a lot of people up there in that area, and I was listening to Motown coming up, James Brown. We were all listening to the same kind of music, so we had that rich heritage, and then classical music and big band. I studied classical. I studied big band. I studied a lot of stuff that I could put my ear to. I listened to everything. So that's that was the upbringing.
You notice the focus is on everything. You keep hearing everything.
Everything.
And that's why I was answering your question.
Yes.
Like at one point you went to smooth jazz. I'm like, well, what do I have to do with smooth jazz? I mean, I like that they play. I had nothing against smooth jazz, and I love that they played a couple of my songs on the radio. But if you told me I was R&B, I would be like, what have I got to do with that? I mean, I'm so much bigger. In my mind, it doesn't stop there. It's like it goes in and out for one. Like one person will go into smooth jazz who loves it and says, oh, I see Ray Parker Jr. But the same guy who never heard of smooth jazz, who went to rock and roll, would say, oh, I looked at the Rolling Stones tape in '72, and there's Ray Parker Jr. playing the guitar on the whole tour. So, I mean, you see me everywhere.
Right.
Just depends on where you are at the time and what you're looking at the time. And by the way, all this myth about musicians don't make money, that's complete nonsense. By the way, I mean, really. Ford Motor Company is having trouble. I grew up in Detroit. They wanted me to work at Ford. Ford is having trouble. Some of the car business went out of business. Today, I haven't seen anything on TV where they're not playing music. We have the best audiences in the world. They don't make a car. They don't make a house. They don't make anything. They don't have speakers in it, right? Every time you look up and you see a speaker somewhere, that's your business. You're making money. Because everybody has a radio. Every cell phone plays music. Everybody has music. There's music everywhere. So you ought to address the option of that. And just don't get like everybody else. You can't. If you're going to build cars, you can't say, well, I'm only going to build a two-door sports car, and that's it, with the engine in the back. If it ain't that, I'm not building it. That's musicians. I'm only playing progressive jazz. And if it doesn't go like that, I don't want to hear it. If you play music, you should embrace the music business.
Right.
And it's a really stable business. I mean, to me, it's much more stable than most of the other businesses.
The thing
It's
is,
more stable than this mic stand.
yeah, if you cut your craft short, you cut your pace short. That's the bottom line right there. A lot of musicians, when it comes to reading music, they shy away from it, because they spend more time playing. You look at YouTube, you can see phenomenal players, but most of them are playing by themselves, if you think about it. So the thing is, they're going to be playing by themselves for a while. The thing is, you have to learn to play with a section or with people. It's like having a conversation. If you dominate the conversation and nobody gets to say anything back to you, they leave.
Right. You didn't learn nothing either.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, it's just if whatever you do, just make sure you cover more than just what you're interested in, because basically it makes you stronger in what you're interested in.
Right.
Right. I was born in Alabama. My father was one of the writers on When a Man Loves a Woman. And then,
I know that.
But
that's happening. When a man.
But the thing is, we moved because of the racial tendencies and all that kind of stuff back in Alabama back in the 60s. He moved us to Texas to kind of, I guess, ease the burden of that.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But the thing is, he's a musician, so he had a band, and he had his band. So I got in it very young. I started playing clubs at 10. At 12, I was working 4 nights a week. Until now, basically, just to put it like that, So, but my formative years came from playing with guys who were already gigging. And they said, hey, you got this child prodigy. It's like, shoot, I used to practice so that I could do the gig. So when all those tunes came out in the 60s, I was learning them as they came out. So all the stuff from the 60s to now that's been re-recorded, I remember when they broke, So the thing is, for me, that my knowledge came from musicians, because I'd be playing something, and a guy my age would say, hey, boy, when I do this, don't do that. I said, yes, sir. So, because I want to stay on the gig. So now, as far as reading and all that kind of stuff, of course, I learned in school as I was coming through, playing through band and all that kind of crap. But the thing is, it's all good. Don't get me wrong, because that gave me a chance to go to college for free. You know, so after that, I used that, moved to L.A., you know. But music is great, and there's a lot of opportunities. The best thing for you to do is what you do, because can't nobody do what you do.
That's right.
Because if you start learning what everybody else do, or somebody specific, they call him.
Right.
You know? So the thing is just be as open-minded as possible when it comes to music. You know, it's just like what kept me going was when I started making a little money as a kid, it's like, oh, it might not have been but $20 a gig, but I'm like, shoot, at 12 years old, $20 a gig, 4 nights a week,
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
I was making more money than anybody in my class. You know? And then the girls were coming out too.
Once you got all the high school stuff, have you ever really had a job or you just been playing music the whole time?
I haven't had a job. The only job I had, because my classmates said, hey, man, I'm a stock boy at such and such. I said, shoot, that sounds like fun. Let me go try it. Lasted 2 days.
When was that? How long ago?
I think I was 13,
Okay,
14.
but other than that, you've been playing music,
Oh,
right?
this is it.
I know you've been just playing music, right?
Yeah, I had like a high school summer job, program job, and I worked at McDonald's in high school. So this was the trick with me. I went to McDonald's to work while I was playing with the Oakland Youth Symphony Orchestra. I saved up enough money to go to Europe with the orchestra. So as soon as I saved the money, I was out of there. So that was my work. As an adult, all I've done was I've made my living with music. That's it.
Yeah. And see, I ain't even had no job in high school.
Yeah.
Nothing except playing this guitar. Now, for those of you who are true musicians and true lovers of the thing, how could your life be any better than to not ever have to go to work? Right? I mean, to me, that is the absolute most fabulous thing about it. Now, if you took all three of us, maybe his house is bigger than his house, bigger than my house. Who knows? It really doesn't matter. Ain't nobody told us we got to cut our hair. Ain't nobody told us how we got to dress. And we've been doing our thing. So we are really the most fortunate, most blessed, happiest people you could possibly see. Because we play our music for a living. Right? And we've done nothing else. Which goes back to what I'm saying. If you really, really want to do this, you don't have to be like the brokest guy in the world doing it, by the way. And I put that out there because a lot of people say, I ain't doing that. What's your backup plan? You know, what backup plan?
You in.
Yeah, this is it. You're all in, baby. This is it. Jump in. You know, it's like getting married. There's no backup plan to getting married. You decide that you have to say I do or you don't.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Just like he said about a relationship. If you make the commitment, it'll start to happen.
Yeah.
If you
shouldn't
don't make the commitment,
unless you're in love.
That's right.
I'm in love with this guitar.
See, that's what happened with me. I played sports, but when I found this, I fell in love.
Right.
Even I tell my wife, I said, the first thing I was ever in love with was this.
Right.
You know.
Please don't challenge this.
Yeah, don't ever challenge this. Don't ever. You'll lose.
You're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I fell in love with this thing. That's why, you know, the passion, and it's there. And I tell people, I've never worked a day in my life doing this. This is not work.
Right.
Anytime I get a chance to play music, it's like a kid going to a candy store, a kid going to a playground.
Right.
You know, I'm just that excited about it, you know, and still, after all these years.
Yeah. And we travel the world.
Yeah.
We eat good food, sometimes too much of it. But we travel, go to good places. We go to fun places. If it ain't fun, I don't even take the job. I don't go there if it ain't cool, right? And I think it's just one of the most wonderful things in the world. You know?
Don't get us wrong. There are some knuckleheads.
Yeah.
I get rid of the knuckleheads. I lose the knuckleheads fast as you can.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know, in any, just say, in your neighborhood, you got some good people and you got some knuckleheads. In any business, it's the same, and on all levels, you know. So, and most times the knuckleheads, it's either fear, inferiority, or just insecurity. That's what makes them a knucklehead, you know. So the thing is, for me, I prayed about it years ago, and I've been blessed. I ain't worked with no knuckleheads. Never had any problem with money.
Never will.
None. But there are stories out there, you know. So the thing is, but it all comes down to a commitment, though. Because if you don't make the commitment, it won't happen.
Right.
Because a lot of people move to L.A. and say, hey, I'm going to be a musician. They come out there, there's probably 10,000 musicians a day entering L.A. The thing is, they come there and say, I'm going to make it, and then I'm going to get out. But the thing is, they don't have the commitment to say, I'm going to make it regardless.
Right.
That's the thing.
You got to come there to say, I'm going to make a living.
Right.
Just, I'm not going to don't come there and say, I'm going to make it, I'm going to get rich, and I'm going to be famous. No. Come there.
You're serious.
Be serious and
About your music.
make a living. Be serious about what you're doing. Yeah. Then everybody else around is going to know that you're really, this guy's really serious.
Now, so Freddie made a good suggestion. We're going to play 60 seconds of some music just so you don't hear our voices too long. Because when I'm performing on the stage, I like to see things go that way, just mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to give you a little history to this groove here. When I was coming out of high school and I was in college for the first year drafting, learned how to draft car parts. It was terrible. God sent Stevie Wonder into my life. I got a phone call from Stevie Wonder. Thank goodness, took me out of school. Big argument with my dad because my dad worked at Ford Motor Company. And to make a long story short, I had to tell my dad, if you wanted to make car parts, shoot me now and get it over with because I want to play the groove. So anyway, you know, he taught me how to write songs. And at 18 years old, the first song I wrote was on an unknown group called Rufus featuring Shaka Khan. They weren't even featuring Shaka Khan at the time. But nobody had ever heard, I know you laugh, but nobody ever heard of none of them, including me. And when she said when they were recording my song, I was so depressed because I wanted Stevie Wonder to cut it up Barry White or somebody. I was like, God dang it, I didn't make this happen. And that's the other thing I want to tell you in life too. You really don't know what's a hit and what's not a hit.
Right.
Where you think you're going to get it, oh, I want Lady Gaga to cut my song. Lady Gaga says, I don't want to cut it. Lady Goo Goo cuts it, who seems like a boo-boo. And then it's, you know, it becomes the next big thing in the world. So you never know. But this was my first #1 record. And I was 18 years old, so that was a good thing. Let me just play a little bit of it.
And for each, I just want to say this one thing. And for each guitar player, bass player, and drummer, just kind of listen and key in on that instrument that you love.
The turns you on.
Yeah.
Now we could talk some more.
I think on that song, and you let me know. I think Ray has the most complicated part of that song. I think I have the most simplest part because I ain't doing nothing but listening more than I am playing. But my simplicity still in the space that I play in is still really important to what's going on in the whole scheme of everything. Land has to hold this thing down, and with Ray's groove and my groove, so the language has to still be in a certain. Everybody has to still be breathing the same, because I'm just playing this. How simple can that be? But a lot of people can't do it. That's so simple for a bass player, but it's not simple.
Because they won't do it.
They won't do it. It's too simple.
Too simple. They won't do it.
It's kind of like drummers.
Mike?
It's kind of like drummers who like to play a lot of drum fills. And that's cool because they have a lot of drum shed rooms. Cats get together and trade licks. Hey, man, let's trade licks. And a lot of my partners like, I'm like Uncle Land now. But like Ron Bruner Jr., you know, Aaron Spears, all those cats who play with Mary J. Blige, all those young brothers, phenomenal players, have problems when they get on certain gigs because they're not listening to what their role is on the gig. And their role is not to do all those roles. You know, it's just to play time because the artist is the feature and not them.
Right.
So they have problems keeping the gigs. Once they start losing enough of them and couldn't pay their bills, they stopped doing them roles.
Mm-hmm. Or they moved back to Alabama.
You know?
They're gone.
You know,
there no more.
but
everybody has to pay attention to what they do. As a bass player, you have to know what your role is. As a guitar player, as a piano player, as a drummer, everybody has a specific role to play, and you have to play that role. And if you don't, you'll be rolling right out.
That's right.
So,
any more questions from people? Y'all got some more ideas or things you want to know?
come on, somebody. I know somebody want to know something.
Don't wait till
Here we
you
go.
leave.
Here we go.
Keyboard player, and I was just wondering if you're not in an LA or New York or whatever, or if you just kind of get put in the door.
That's easy. First of all, you can just go to LA. Right? I mean, I was in Detroit and it wasn't enough happening, so I got in my car and pointed it to LA and drove.
Yeah, it depends
That
on
made
what you
all the
want to
difference
do.
in the world. Yeah, it depends on what you're doing. I mean, sometimes you can make it in New York. Or, I would go, first of all, the world is a very small place. I don't even think in terms of where do I live. I live wherever the groove is, you know. So wherever you think your best opportunity is, that's where you should go.
This is the thing. I think now with the internet, wherever you are is fine. The only thing is, like I said, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to be an artist, if that's what you're saying, or just a side band.
I would be happy as a side.
Okay, then you have to go where the work is.
Right.
That's what that comes down to.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to be an artist, you can live anywhere because all you got to do a tune, upload it to the internet. You might be the next Gnarls Barkley. You know, they sell 1 million downloads, and it was a demo. You know, so the opportunity is there with technology now. It's kind of back to like the 50s, 60s, 70s where you kind of got to promote yourself. Because record companies now, all they want to do is sign you just to say they got you and steal your money, pretty much. Because now with the 360 deal, which says we get half of everything, merchandise, your gig, your CD, publishing, writers, you know, they tell you, they're putting it in writing now. Used to, they just said we didn't recoup and said, well, sorry, you know. But now you have a chance to do it yourself, you know, but you have to have the motivation to hustle. That's the other side of it.
But also, to me, in answer to your question, see, I like to live in the musical area. For instance, I mean, it could be the stupidest things that make you cut a hit. Like Freddie could call me up and say, man, what kind of guitars that you playing? Da, da, da. Well, see, if I'm in Mississippi, we ain't getting that communication. Right. Like he may say, man, can I come over here, that amp you got? Da, da, da. Can I just, he go down the street. He live not too far from me, a few blocks from me. Now, if you by yourself, you really got to be more of a genius, right? Because you're not getting any input or any feedback from anybody else. It doesn't mean you're not talented. It just means that you would be surprised sometimes. You say, man, this keyboard, what's wrong with it? Then somebody else goes, no, because you didn't stick the mic here and put this on it, you know. So if you're not in the community, you sort of lose a lot of things, you know.
Yeah, because it's a fellowship. It really is.
Yeah. It's
You
a
need
fellowship.
to be around. You need to be around people who you inspire to be like, or that community of musicians. If you want to be a sideman, so who are the sidemen? Who are the players that you like? You need to get around them. They need to know who you are. They need to hear you.
Right.
They need to feel what you're doing. They need to know that you're reliable. They need to know that you can read music. They need to know you can play any style.
And feel your presence.
And,
I
and
mean,
feel your presence.
Many night I get a phone call in the middle of the night, man, can you make it tomorrow morning? Well, if you live in Mississippi, you can't make it tomorrow morning.
Right.
And they ain't gonna give you the phone call because they think, well, he's in Mississippi. Who can we get that can come down tomorrow? And, you know, and so I mean, that's a lot of missed opportunity, not a little bit. So I would think if you're happy being a sideman, you need to go where it's at. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just simple as pick up your stuff and go. And I don't mean go 3 months from there. I mean, like, Monday's good.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you know, it's just, you know, people like to make well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Man, forget all that. Just go Monday.
Yeah, make the commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, just do it.
Pack
you
your
know.
stuff and go.
Yeah. And if you don't go Monday, then you need to sit down in the mirror and figure out why you didn't do it. Right? You need to have a chat with yourself. But the truth is, you can go Monday and you can come back later and get whatever you need to get and finish moving. But you need to just do it. By the way, I want to stress, do it. Nike's right, just do it. That is the biggest effing problem is people just don't do it. Everybody talks about everything, but till you do it, doing it is really 90%. I mean, you got to do it. You really do have to do it. Talking about it, just, I got a good idea, I'm talking about it. And everybody keeps having meetings, and they keep talking, and they keep talking. You need to do it.
You got to take the step. If you don't take the step, you're not moving.
Yeah, you got to do it.
You're sitting idle.
Any more questions?
Come on, you have some more questions. I can feel you.
I've got a question about you. It seems like you're in the studio guys. You know, you got the headsets, everything's already done. You just have to let you start. And now, you know, people are sending tracks across the country, but you know, you can send that track. But it seems like a lot of the live stuff and the interaction stuff, I've missed for a long time recordings, and sometimes people are well happy to be able to be live. Because if it happens,
Absolutely.
play together live, it seems to be lost a lot. You just send tracks.
Yeah.
You just sit there and just do it after it's already done. You don't
Yeah, but the people who do that, they want it lost. They like that lost sound, which unfortunately, in my opinion, is selling to a lot of things. They like the lost sound. I mean, some of that sample, the drum's not playing any kind of rhythm. He's just playing whatever the sample is, and everybody else doesn't lock around it and they do something
Right.
weird. For some reason, some of that stuff sells. But at the same time, there's still people doing sessions with live bands and, or mixing it up halfway. I'm seeing a little bit of everything. You know, so I don't think we can fight the world or change it. You know, it's like when the synthesizer came, everybody embraced it. I mean, some people didn't like it. Some people didn't like the ARP strings, but some people only wanted to hear the ARP strings. You know? And they didn't like the electric guitar at one point in the 50s, right? It says too loud to break up. Well, by the time the 60s came, it was like turn it all the way up. Let it really feed back and break up. You know,
Right.
Jimi Hendrix said turn it up louder. Then everybody went. Yeah, everybody went past it. They had 6 Marshall amps, and they just, you know, the guitar was feeding back. Every note was feeding back. So, I mean, you can't, styles and trends just happen. But if you're a part of it and you're doing it all, it'll work out. You know?
Yeah, you have to welcome change
Yeah.
because everything's evolving. It's like technology. The problem I think that's growing now with the young people is that technology makes it so simple that they actually don't learn the fundamentals of music.
Right.
So what's missing, well, what's good for us is because we know technology and we know music. So when it's coming back around to the point where you got to know music because everybody's only copying something that's copied. So nothing original is really being created anymore. Even sound libraries for TV and all that.
Right.
I was HGTV and I asked them, I said, who does your music? They said, well, we have a library. And so we don't have to deal with copyright and all that kind of stuff. And we just pick a tune out that's been done, you know, that's already licensed to them. I said, so none of the shows do original music? I said, no, we just kind of pull out the folder. So the thing is, the problem now with kids, they're stuck in that. And say, for instance, I got my computer back here with GarageBand. It's a consumer a consumer item, but it makes it easy to create music, which is great. Now, I've heard some underscoring that was garage band on films. You know, because of budget, maybe, or
Yeah.
it's nice. Okay, great. But the thing is, to have the longevity, just say a career in it, you have to know more than the easy way. You know, so I always stress to kids, you got to learn theory. You got to learn what a chord is. You know, how to voice a chord, and why you want to play that chord for one. If you play, hey Ray, play a major chord. Freddie and I was talking about this earlier. Now, play a minor chord.
Now that's a happy sound, sad sound.
Most songs that you hear have minor chords nowadays. And it makes music, it can almost make, it brings you down listening to music. And especially if you listen to most lyrics. You know? Now, songs that, if you look back over the years, all the songs that might have won Grammys and stuff like that, were positive songs.
Positive.
You know?
Major chords.
Most of them major,
If you hear
major changes.
a lot of the old Motown records, Jackson 5, Happy Sound, a lot of major, they didn't stray away from those major chords. Major tonalities, wasn't nothing minor. You can sound of Young America. Young America, Happy, it's all major sound.
But see, people ain't happy now either. I mean, they want to shoot each other. They got the rapper. They got so. I mean, so some of the stuff is just some unhappy music.
It's dark. It's real dark.
Yeah. And I see trends in that too. You know, like after a war or something, people have to come together so that more love comes in, and then they want to hear more romance. They want to hear more stuff. Then we have the generation of my kids, which I call the self-entitlement group. They don't really want to hear that happy stuff because they ain't that happy. Even though they got everything already, they're still unhappy about something. They're like, you didn't buy me a BMW, you only got me a brand new Honda, and I'm pissed. You know, so why? No, the song shouldn't be happy. It should be mad. You know, kill your mama, kill your daddy. So you know.
Any more questions? Back in the back.
What artists no longer here would you have wanted to work with and why? And the second one is what artists do you want to work with in the future and why? Each one.
Okay.
It's just no longer here.
The artist is no longer here. Is Isaac Hayes. Yeah, I missed work. I wanted to meet and work with Isaac Hayes. Now, I've worked with David Porter, and I met him, but for somehow I escaped Isaac Hayes. And the guy who I'd like to work with would be Paul McCartney.
Let me see.
Yeah, I got something for him. You know, he's one of the few people on the planet that haven't experienced the Ray Parker groove, and that's his fault. I mean, he's probably got a couple of billion to make up for it, but he'd have about 4 more billion if he heard it, you know. And we could all be happy together, but I just feel like, you know, that's too bad.
Yeah. Let me see, for me, I'm not sure. When he said Isaac Hayes, because I've been listening to a lot of Isaac Hayes lately, because I have that Pandora,
Right.
and I get to program whatever I want to program, and I go back to a lot of that kind of music. So Isaac Hayes, there's been a lot in there. Let me see if there's anybody else that's not with us. That's a hard one. That's a hard one for me. Who's still here that I want to work with?
See, the problem was taking him so long. He's already worked with him. So you got to figure out who has.
I mean,
first
we
you got to
worked
start
with.
with who am I working with. You know?
I got to think about who haven't I worked with. It's like, did you stop me on that one? That's a good one. Who do I want to work with now? I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm already working with Steely Dan. So, Lan, go ahead, Lan. You answer the question.
Yeah, he's thinking.
With me, I prayed a long time ago, let me work with everybody. Yeah. And I've worked with some of everybody,
Yeah.
but the thing is, my wife, right now, when I land at home on Tuesday, I got this little gig. It might be paying, what, $120 maybe. But I go do it after I land, and she always say, how long are you going to do these little jobs? And I say, well, I meet new people all the time on these new jobs. And these new jobs lead to bigger jobs. You know, so I always want to work with somebody new because it's like a relationship. You establish personality, you know, a relationship with that person.
He wants to know who. Who would you want to work with?
Everybody.
Nobody in particular you can think
Nobody in particular, because
Well, who's dead that you missed?
who's dead that I miss. You know, I almost worked with him, and that was Marvin Gaye, because of his passion. You know, I almost believe that he should have been like a gospel artist. You know, because that's the way his music, it inspires the soul. You know, and just the feel.
Sit with me a while. I'll tell you about Marvin Gaye. I did all this stuff.
Yeah, you know. So, but the thing is, his sexual healing tour. I went and auditioned with Gordon for that, and they went with part of the old band. So it's like, and then Gordon's like, "Man, you should have been on the gig. Man, you should have been on the gig." But after I found out what happened on that gig, I said, "I shouldn't have been on that gig."
No, you shouldn't have been on it.
You know.
Nobody should have.
And see, and that's the thing. I've been blessed. I only do the gigs I'm supposed to do. And I'm blessed at not doing the gigs I'm not supposed to be at.
You mean spiritually not supposed to. The last Marvin Gaye tour, everybody got high, some people died, and it was just a bad experience. And he's saying he was fortunate enough to not get what he thought he wanted.
Right, exactly.
To end up in the wrong spot.
Sometimes you don't need to be in a certain place.
But,
you know something? Let me. I'm thinking. Me being from Oakland, I would have loved to work with Sly Stone. He's one. Because that's some of my history, some of my rich history. That's right.
And he's still around.
He's still around. That's the one that's still around. I'd like.
Sorta.
He's sort of around. Yeah, he's sort of around.
Yeah.
But in his heyday, I would have loved it.
Yeah, that's my hero, Sly Stone.
Anything else?
No, you mentioned. You got one? Go ahead.
You're back.
It's just kind of an off-the-wall question. Ray, you mentioned your kids and stuff. Now, I don't know if Land or Freddie, if you have kids as well,
we
but
do. I do.
It's got to be really intimidating growing up with you guys as my dad, kind of thing, growing up in that kind of household. Now, you're saying they play guitar now. Do you let them get into whatever kind of music? Do you help hone them into the things that you've done?
My kids are cutting the record. They're just not cutting it fast enough to my liking. But they are cutting it, and they're very talented. Both of my kids play guitar and piano, and the 10-year-old sings, and they're like unbelievably talented. They play more guitar than I ever played at their age. And I think that they could really both be superstars. The only thing that I find that's in the way is the video games, they live in a world that I don't know how to deal with them, because they have so many options. See, I lived in Detroit, and other than getting shot, playing the guitar was all I knew how to do, But they got like a million valid things that they can do. They got the tennis lesson, they got they got the video games, now they got the Xbox, where you get your friends that left town 2 years ago live in Switzerland. One lives in Switzerland, they hook up with the other one in Japan. Everybody's on live, in the middle of the night. They got the headset on with the boom mic, and they're playing video games with the guys in Switzerland. So they got the iPads, they got the iPhones, they got the swimming lessons, they got this, and then they're traveling. They just got a lot going on.
I want to be one of your kids.
I know.
Let me tell you something.
Raise kids.
The truth is, I want to be one of my kids. I'm getting the raw end of the deal. I missed the pot. I should have let my dad do this, and I should be the kid. But then I guess they don't have I don't know. It's just different. The new generation, I got 4 kids, by the way. And I still haven't figured out how to make it work. I mean, it's a new world.
It's tough.
You think you got it figured out. You say, I'm going to do this. Then the next time you say, I'm going to do this. Then the next time you say, I'm going to do this. Then the next time you say, I'm going to do this. Now, 4 shots at 3 strikes, you're out. I mean, 4. Come on.
I think it was simpler when we were growing up, because we didn't have that much.
Yeah.
So it was, we go out in the street, kick the can, whatever. That was our video game. It wasn't that much. Now, today, it's like it's hard to get them because they have so much.
So that book is still open. I think my kids are going to cut some hits. I think. But that door is still open. It depends on how dedicated they are, because they really got some good stuff right now cut. But it just depends on how dedicated or how much they want. I look at the Justin Bieber movie, and boy, you love Justin Bieber once you see the movie. Before you see the movie, it's like, Justin Bieber, the guy with the hair, who cares about the hair? But when you see this kid at 12 years old that has the brain of somebody who's 35, right, and he's focusing it in. And by the way, Justin Bieber's career is all him. I mean, he drove it, he led it, he put all the other people on board. And it's not some strange phenomenon. When you see the kid's movie, you see everything that happened. They got videotapes of him. They can't fake that stuff, And you'll hear him talk, and man, he starts hitting the 80-city tour at 15 years old, and he doesn't care. He's not letting his voice get out of shape, and he's doing whatever he has to do. It's pretty amazing just to drive, you know. So you look at that Justin Bieber thing. You know, I took my kids to see that. I ain't Justin Bieber. Well, they did after they saw the movie. Even I was a fan after I saw the movie. So I'm saying you got to be driven like that. And by the way, he came from the middle of nowhere, middle of Ontario. Wasn't even in Toronto, off the suburbs somewhere. You know, the least likely spot for getting a music career. You know what I mean? And still made it happen.
Yeah.
But you have to be driven, and you have to want to do it and go get it. You know?
My kids, my daughter, you know, when she was coming up, she's taking piano lessons. She wanted to play piano, so I went out and bought her acoustic piano so she have a facility to play. And she played for a while, but she never really pursued it. My son, he likes music, but, you know, he's a golfer. He wants to be a PGA pro. So, you know, I wanted them to pursue their own passion. This is what Daddy loves. This is how I take care of everybody. And this is what I do. What's your passion? I just wanted them to find what they did. So, you know, they have a love for the music. They have a love for what I do. They're still, when they come to Steely Dan concerts or any concert or just a little in-town gig, they're still excited. My daughter told me one day, she said, Daddy, every time I see you play, I mean, it's just like there's something new. I mean, you excite me every time. So I'm like, okay, I'm not getting stale. I'm still I'm still growing, you know. Yeah, so they're doing their own thing. Yeah.
My kids, it's me and my wife. I'm the kid. I get all the toys.
And that is not beneficial to our audience today. Go ahead, President.
Now, you know something, practice, I'll just tell the truth. I rarely practice, okay? I've been playing music almost every day of my life. My sound is in my fingers. I have this bass here. I turn up the volume, I set the tone, and I don't touch anything else. I know how to get the sound I want. I know the kind of sound that I play and that I try to get. I mean, for the practice, I'll sit down, you know, stretch my fingers, this and that. Maybe I'll run down a few scales, but I don't do a lot of practicing because I play so much that it's just innate. It's there. I mean, it's just like a no-brainer, no thought.
He sounds 40 years old. He's been tuning it for it's been like fine wine. It's just there now.
Yeah, it's just there.
It's graceful.
Yeah, it's just there. And I'm always looking for something to get better. You know, not that I'm trying to say, well, let me see if I can play this scale and then play it this way. I don't play in that. My thing is always off the groove. Always off the groove. If you see me and I'm looking serious and I'm looking, I'm in it. I'm in it. So you know, that's where I'm at.
That's interesting. Nobody's asked certain questions that I thought you would ask. Like, let me just touch on this. It ain't just your playing, by the way. The gig starts at 9 o'clock. If you ain't there at 9 o'clock, you really made a mistake. A monumental mistake. For instance, you're playing with Lady Gaga and you don't show up at 9 o'clock. If you stop somebody's show, it'll take them maybe 10 concerts to break even, to make up for the one that you screwed up, that they got to pay the trucks, lights, sound, hotel bills, all the rest of the stuff. People have killed their careers by not showing up on time, right? And I'm telling you now, if it's 9 o'clock, you need to be there at 8 o'clock. And have
That's right.
10 other plane flights to get there, 10 other cabs you could have caught, 10 other trains. So if you miss 2 of them, you're still going to get there on time. And the idea in my life, I've never missed a show. I've never missed a recording, right? I've never been late for a concert. And the thing that people know that, they want to know that when they say, okay, Freddie's on the gig, I give him his ticket, boom, I ain't got a babysitter.
You don't have to worry.
He's going to get there. Now, we can't really say that about everybody. But the people I have to babysit on my concerts, I usually end up firing them because I can't deal with that. Right? So it's not just the music. You got to make a total commitment as a human being to smile when you show up at the gig. If your boyfriend left you last night, or girlfriend, don't bring it to the gig. Bring your smile to the gig.
Right.
Be eager to play. Study the music we're playing.
Right.
Hit it. Be there on time. Do all the rest of the time. It ain't that difficult.
I've missed a gig once in my life. I was in about 19. I had a gig. I was in L.A., and I was supposed to make a gig, and I forgot about the gig. I missed this gig, and I felt horrible. I mean, it was like something I never want to feel again. That's why I don't even like being late. If there's a recording date, and especially, they're more a little lenient on record dates. But if there's an orchestra date and they run on time, if you're running late, everybody's sitting in there and they watching you come in.
Right.
It's not a good feeling.
Not happening.
It's not happening, man. You never want to be late.
Yeah, playing is a given. You don't get a shot if you can't play.
Yeah, that's your ticket to the ride,
Yeah.
to the party.
It's the other stuff. It's personality. It's because it's like us. It's a fellowship. So you know what you're going to get. You're going to get consistency when you call these guys. So the other thing is you're going to get the fellowship of calling your friends. Mm-hmm. Now, if you say, oh, hey, man, you really play great, man. I like the way you play. Then you show up to the gig, and it's like, hey, man, I didn't bring my keyboard. Can you give me, I need about $75 so I can get out the pawn shop. That stuff happens, too. So you don't call them again. Because you don't know whether or not he's going to show up. Second, you don't know whether or not he's going to have a keyboard when he shows up.
Well, the important thing is he's not seriously committed to his music.
Exactly.
That's the first thing, And I'll give you an example, just what you said. There was a guy I met in Florida. He knew all my songs. He was such a big fan. He was just playing some bass for me back then. I said, man, that guy's got a good feel. He said, man, could you please come in again? Could you please come again? And I remember Freddie couldn't make it to Japan that year, and I thought, you know what? That guy really played the groove. I felt this groove. I'm going to call this guy up. I called him up. He didn't have a passport, right? And we're leaving for Japan in 2-3 weeks. You got to get the visa work, got to get everything done. He hadn't paid his child support. The government pulled his passport. Yep. And so here we go. So, and then the guy's apologizing, and what that let me know is he's not ready to go. He's not an 18 player. Mm-hmm. So his thing is just done now. That's it for him. I'm not calling him back. I'm already afraid now.
Yeah, right.
He ain't the guy. Right? And that's not my problem. He should have his life in order. No one wants to hear excuses. That's what you do. You have your thing in order, I got my thing in order. Just like when it comes time for me to pay you for the gig, you don't want to hear a long story about what happened. Right. You played the gig. The only thing you want to hear is, thank you very much. Here's your check.
Check, please.
Right? And I like to make it a policy to paying people right after the gig because I like to pay. I like people like me when people feel good when they get their check right after the gig. I like that.
They feel better when you get it before the gig, too.
Even when you mail them, even when you're going to mail them the money a week later and they know you're good for it, that's one thing. I have no problem with that. But I'm saying, there's psychologically, people, they just got through playing, I like to go.
Right. Especially when you know you've done a great job. You want to feel good about what you do.
You want to feel, and I always feel like people are going to take my gig before the next guy's gig if they're the same. Because they know, at the end of Ray's gig.
You're right. Yeah, don't just take the money because it's money.
Right.
Take the money because you know you did a great job and you feel good about what you do, about what you did. And the artist, he's like just ecstatic. So you always want to feel good about making this money. It's like if you're not putting your front foot forward every single time you sit down and play, then don't do it. But when you do it, there it is.
But you got to understand the business behind it too, though. Because what we do is so personal, and it's an extension of us. You got to be understanding of the business about the money, because it is a business. Now, a lot of times people say, hey, man, can you do this? Help me out. I say, okay, cool. Next time, you say, but I have to charge this because I put this time in, went to school, I studied to get to this point. So you have to, compensate me. Now, I'll work with you because you only have X amount of dollars, but at the same time, you have to have the confidence in yourself to say, pay me. That's all it is to it, And you can't. Sometimes you can feel guilty. Say, man, this cat only got, bruh, I need that money because if I don't, I ain't gonna be able to put the gas in the car to get back to the house. It's very simple, and a lot of people have representation to speak for them. I had the opportunity when I was in college to go to law school, so I studied contracts and legal protection. so that I would be prepared, and I have no problem negotiating. You know, so all the deals that I do, I negotiate myself. And with their management, their attorney, whoever, it doesn't matter, because I know how to read the paper. But if you can't do that, get your spouse, who you share your money with, they'll get it for you. They won't have no.
Sounds like a personal
they won't even worry about it. They say, "I'll go get our money."
Get your spouse.
So, hey, y'all, it's about time for us to wrap up.
Yeah, all extremely good points. First, folks, please, again, put your hands together for Lana Richards here, Freddie Washington, Ray Parker Jr. If you guys wouldn't mind just giving us a groove on the way out, and thank you again so much for your time. Now, they have a concert this evening here at the Convention Center. Got some CDs over here. You're going to definitely want to check it out. And coming up next, performance and songwriting with David Pack and Henry Capono. So, right on, folks. Mahalo.
Oh, yeah, we got them CDs. They're only $10. If you want them, we'll bless you.
CDs over here,
Right on the podium over here.
$10, and they got all the art of the grooves on it.
Pretty guitar sitting next to me now.
Thank you.
We got to get us some coffee shop here because we just do that. Then we perfect it. Then we take it on to it. We take that on to just that kind of stuff. Just that groove. Everybody be like, ooh, they humping it.
Again, folks, please put your hands together for Ray Parker Jr., to Freddie Washington, to Lan Richards. CD's right up over here, as
CD's
well as
over
our
here if you'd
concert
like.
tonight.
Thank you.